Probably the most stressful 10 minutes in my beekeeping life. But she's in the push-in cage, letting her calm down a little bit. And number 2. I didn't take any stings with this one. Took about 5 with the last one though. Okay, James Lee with James Lee's Bees here. Been a minute since I made a video. I've been busy and I owe too many people, too many things, too many promises unfulfilled to be recreating and playing around. So that's a whole other story, but in the meantime, I've got some stuff to do here in the mating yard. I'm here in the mating yard. I'm gonna take a look at some boxes and do a Harbo assay on a couple of my breeder queens, but I'm primarily going to be checking a Harbo breeder that we got through the SBGMI and was acquired for the purposes of producing queens and making queens available, viable, good, hardy, mite-resistant stock to those who are interested in participating in our queen program. So I'm going to check that queen that arrived last Wednesday and was placed in a push-in cage. There was a couple of problems that had arisen during the introductory process initially, and hopefully I worked out some of the kinks on that. You're supposed to introduce these breeders into queenless colonies, hopelessly queenless colonies. However, they still saw fit to try to generate their own queen, and I had to move one of the breeders into a completely different box. But anyways, we're going to take a look inside the box, inside this 5-frame nuke that I have set up with her in it, and see how she's doing. So let's go take a look. She is in this box right here. I made that from scratch, I think Thursday or Friday, with a colony that had been previously queenless. They were already going through a requeening process, so that made for a good start to the queenless process that's necessary in order to introduce a virgin or an inseminated queen. So anyways, enough with my stammering. Let's take a look. This colony had a pretty good population of cap broods when I added it in there, but they were all emerging brood, and that brood was did not contain any young larvae, at least that I could find or see, or anything that they could make queen cells from. I'm going to take a look here and see what they're doing with this empty frame that I put in. It's not really any hard fact or science or anything, but I feel like colonies that feel good about the queen that they have will draw foundation, which is kind of what they're doing here, meaning that they're preparing to get ready for incoming eggs. A queen with legs that lays eggs. Say that 3 times fast. All right, I'm just gonna go through the outside frame, which was primarily stores, just to make sure there's no cups or cells. Lots of nectar in there. I don't see any random queens. No laying worker eggs. Gonna pull a frame here that was also full of brood. I don't see any queens or any additional cups. No worker eggs. And Now we're gonna pull the frame that has the breeder queen on it. And it looks like there is an awful lot of brood that has emerged with her underneath there. Take a look, you can't even see. Let's see if she's in the cage. I'm having a hard time seeing her. Up there she is, queen number 48. Down in the bottom, can you see it? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, I'll tell you. In the video, I'll maybe make a circle around her there if I can figure that out. Now, I can't tell if she's laying yet, so I'm gonna see if I can find any eggs. Yep, I see eggs, so she's laying. I'm gonna put her back in here for just one moment, and I'm gonna check this last outside frame, just because bees do really whack stuff sometimes. And just make sure there's nothing on here, no queens, no random usurpation virgins. Just capped honey and stores. All right, let's check it out. Pull out the trusty dusty Kershaw. See if we can get a better shot for you guys here. There, how's that? Ah! Oh, they didn't like that. I don't suppose I would like it either. Maybe I'll hold it from the other end so it doesn't kerpling. Well, a little bit of a kerpling. Now, if she's skittering around and not calm and collected, looks like she might actively be laying right now. I do see eggs. They are acting pretty cool. I actually think that we might be observing her laying right now. Yep, she's laying down in that cell. I can see an egg hanging out of her abdomen. It's kind of hard to see her. They're all just kind of checking her out right now. Okay, it is day 2 following yesterday when I released the Harbo breeder to some laud and fanfare, which was pretty cool and exciting to see that she was accepted and laying. I probably should have checked back up on her, make sure she was still well accepted a few minutes later, but I got to go back to that yard today anyway, and I'll do a double check and a verification. Today I'm going to check on one that was noticeably troubled from the get-go, and they kept trying to build cells, and every time I would check on them, they would somehow either find a larva or they were maybe uncapping a cell that had larvae in it that would have been moderately usable. I don't know, but they kept somehow coming up with queen cells. So we're going to look into this one and see exactly what's going on, and maybe we have the same situation that was occurring yesterday. It would be nice. Let's take a look. So this is in the backyard. I've got some mating colonies back here that are fairly sized. I like to bring a lot of the ones I like to keep close eye on back to this area because it mates with local drone congregation areas where I have other apiaries with breeder queens and genetics that I would like to see propagated. Are they being propagated? That's the question. So let's take a look inside and see what we got. This colony's a fair bit cantankerous most of the time, so hopefully I don't get popped. They appear calm, and they are acting calm. I'll pop this frame here on the outside because the cage, the pushing cage, I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, the pushing cage right here is rubber banded in. So I'm gonna pull this last frame, which was not really populated with bees or brood or any of that. Take a quick glance at it. Lots of emerged bees walking around. Nothing of note going on there. We'll set that to the side. This frame I'm pulling now had some brood on it. Still has some brood. Let's see if we have any cells. Don't see any queen cells or any developing cells on that side. This one looks pretty good too. See a lot of emerged worker bees walking around, baby bees, or well, not baby bees, but newly emerged adult bees. Yep, I don't see any cells here either. Now comes the test because this frame here is just empty for drawing, which they are actively doing, as I can see down in there. There's still some brood on this one. This is the breeder colony, or the breeder queen's frame. And you can see that they are calmly working the cage there. It doesn't look like any chaos or insanity or frantic, erratic behavior. I'm looking on this side and I'm not seeing any. Oh, there's a cup right there. So it's hopefully empty. Yep, that cup is empty. There's nothing in that cup. Thank goodness. tired of dealing with these bees and their random queen cell building. Alright, so I can't really see down in there if there's eggs. Let's take a look. Move some of these bees out of the way. There is nectar and there is brood in there. I made the mistake of choosing a frame that did not have a lot of emerging brood on it. It was all fairly new. It does look like she's laying right now, actually. She's got her tail end down in the cell. I just want to see eggs. Yep, there's an egg in the cell. So because there is an egg in the cell and they appear to be friendly right now, and they are walking around calmly on the frame here, I'm going to pull the rubber bands off. Lesson learned from yesterday, not cutting it and letting it fling bees all over the place. That was probably stupid. And if my kids were around, they would say, "Don't say stupid." And they're right, you shouldn't say it's stupid. Doesn't mean that I'm not stupid sometimes. Alright. No fling in here. Get that rubber band off. I always want to reuse everything. I don't know, maybe the way I grew up. But these rubber bands are kind of tattered from being in there and them chewing on it, so you don't really want to reuse those. Alright, so here comes the moment of truth. Let me make sure we got a good shot of that. Moment of truth. Looks like she's actually on the top of the cage. Yeah, she's on the top of the cage. See her right there. Get her to go back down on the comb there so I can pull the cage off. Wait until she's back down on the comb to pull the cage off. Looks like she's back down there now. There she goes. Alright, these are all the bees that like her, so I'm going to shake them back off onto the comb here. We observe her for a few minutes. Everything looks really good. Bees seem generally accepting. No erratic or frantic behavior. She's walking around unmolested. Looks pretty good. They're feeding her. And she's going down into the box. There she goes. And that's that.